Sounds familiar.
Hey, brother.
Hey, bro.
What's up?
You're my older brother, and I love you.
Hey, brother.
Is that why you slap my brother around in public?
It wasn't personal.
You straighten my brother out.
You laughing at my brother? Look at your smile, brother.
Whatever happened to
Yeah,
Am I my brother's
dude.
keeper? Huh? Whatever happened to Am I my brother's keeper? Huh? Whatever happened to Am I my brother's keeper? Huh? Whatever happened to Am I my brother's keeper? Huh?
Oh, you're getting clean with it, man.
I'm feeling the rhythm on that one.
Well
now.
done.
I cut you off with one. That was my bad.
Oh, no. I'm just giving you praise mid-performance.
I like when you jump in with new brother samples mid-theme song.
Yeah. It'll take me some time before I start to say outrageousness, like enough outrageousness for it to be worthy of there.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
It'll get there.
I just got to let my mind let loose.
But for now, we have Al Pacino and Wesley Snipes
You straighten my brother out.
and Buster Bluth.
Look at your smile, brother.
Hey, Romano.
Buster. I still haven't watched that show in its entirety.
It's great, man. No, I enjoyed all of it. Even the new stuff. I enjoyed it.
Was Larry David working on that post Arrested? What?
I don't think Larry David's involved with Arrested Development at all.
Really?
Yeah.
I have a false memory then.
I mean, it's similar humor to his stuff. Are you fusing Curb
Oh, I'm definitely fusing
and
Curb.
Arrested Development? Yeah.
Yeah, that's my bad.
That's kind of easy to do, though. Don't worry about that.
What other shows did the producer of Arrested Development make?
I could see his name in the intro credits, and I actually can't remember. I know Ron Howard did the narrating for Arrested Development.
Oh,
Like
okay.
his voice is the one that's like, and that's when George Michael went home upset again. Like he's always in the background of that kind of. But I don't think he's like the creator of Arrested Development. That dude's name is Mitchell something.
But I remember we had this conversation when you were actively watching the show, and I was kind of sitting down for episodes, and you said, "Oh yeah, the guy that produced this did this, this, and this," and that was kind of the connection I guess I was making between Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah. The dude's name is Mitchell Hurwitz, and he also created co-creator of The Ellen Show, and
Whoa.
Also a contributor to Golden Girls.
All right, well,
But yeah, I don't think despite how it feels like he should be in there, I don't think Larry David's in Arrested Development.
no, that's fine. My dumbass memory definitely confused that, but regardless, I remember it being a hilarious show that would definitely be worth going back and seeing the whole thing in its entirety.
I think you'll really love the first couple seasons that were all happening in the ones from when it was on like cable television.
Yeah.
And the Netflix reboots were fun.
Michael Cera is outstanding as George Michael.
George Michael, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't dislike a single regular cast member in that show.
Yeah.
They're all so. Portia de Rossi, who plays, oh my God, I can't think of her name now. The sister. I don't know. She's a little annoying, but it's perfect for the character. And
No, definitely. Jason Bateman, what's his character's name? Crap.
Michael.
That's Michael. Yeah.
And George is his father, George Bluth
Yep.
Sr., and then George Michael
Michael
is
is
both
his
their
son.
name. Yeah.
And then Will Arnett's character, what's his name again?
Job.
Job.
Every line is perfect.
Yeah, he steals the show.
Every single moment. And then Tony Hale as Buster is it's perfect.
Now I'm thinking about all these characters and the brief little clips that I know them from, and now I just want to start from the.
Yeah. That's when
It's
Buster drinks
perfect.
too much juice, gets all sugared up.
Is he having? Oh, that's actual juice. That's not like a euphemism for him having.
I think that's how they joke on him is
Oh,
while
that's
the rest
funny.
of them are getting drunk on real liquor, he is the kind of person that has that reaction to just drinking like
juice.
sugary juice. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
And how does he get the hooks on his hands again?
I'm not telling you. That's
Okay,
all part
okay.
of the beautiful story they weave through it.
That's entirely fair.
Yeah.
Yo, I wanted to tell you about this cool place in Boston I went to this weekend.
Do tell.
Well,
Were you by the harbor?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we were in Seaport District.
Yeah,
Perfect.
they were there.
Yep. Right by the ICA
Yep.
is this place called Putt Shack. That's essentially one of these new hybrid like amusement games / bar. Kind of like what hatchet throwing is too.
Yeah.
But this is like putt-putt. It's a little 9-hole course, but every hole is stylized after like a classic barroom kind of game.
Okay.
So the first hole is kind of like just a regular hole to show you how it works, and it's super high tech, and I'll talk about that in a sec. That's part of why I really liked it. But you get further on in the thing, and you're playing one that's like a big air hockey table, and there's actual like pucks moving around that you have to like navigate.
Yeah.
And there's one that's like a skee ball course, so you got to like hit it extra hard and get it into the thing. There's a Connect 4 one that you can only go through the doors in the columns that would work if you were playing Connect 4. It's like a really cool, there's a trivia one, so it's like it gives you Boston trivia and you have to putt on the true side or the false side.
Okay.
Or you can risk it up the middle and get like the bonus thing. I got that shit.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I felt like a total G when I did that, man. I mean, being a total G and putt-putt never have been used in the same sentence.
A brand new
before.
sentence, probably.
It's a brand new sentence. And but anyway, 9-hole course, great bar, great restaurant. Coolest part about it though is each of the balls have like a unique like RF tag in them. So as soon as you put it down at the tee box, it knows it's you, and it counts all your strokes. I don't know how it does that, but you don't have to keep score. You can totally be talking to your group and like sipping on drinks while you're playing, and it like does all the scorekeeping for you. Brilliant idea.
Dude, I bet that's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Is a stroke just like when it's at rest and then not at rest and then back to being at rest? Because they could count strokes if you move your ball too and cheat and stuff. I'm just imagining that right now from what you said.
There were two things that I thought. Right when you walk in, as soon as you step onto the course, they kind of ramble off like an amusement park ride kind of spiel. Like, here's your ball. This will be your unique thing. You put it on the mat. It'll start the game. It'll know it's you. It'll keep your score. And then they quickly say you're going to be on camera the whole time. And I assumed that they did that as like a, like, don't fuck with the holes. Don't like try to push stuff around that's motorized. Like, this is being supervised, I kind of think is what they're trying to tell you. Because you know how many golf courses are. There's like nobody looking.
Yeah.
And so the first thing I thought is maybe there's a camera watching each hole, kind of like it's doing a big scan. And it's actually knowing when you swing and hit the ball or when the ball moves. Like maybe it sees the ball in a different way.
Yeah.
And like players hitting the ball is like a thing. So it can like kind of keep score that way.
Yep.
The other thing I thought is maybe the ball has some sort of a sensor inside. So as soon as it takes an impact, it like marks it as a, you know, a stroke.
Yeah.
But the reason I suspect it's not that is because you're hitting walls, you're dropping it into obstacles. Like it would be counting strokes all over the place if it was like a contact thing.
Yeah.
But all I can tell you is it worked seamlessly. It was like a really good experience. The hardest part about it was the like check-in process. Like you walk in, it's all kiosks. There's like hardly anybody who's like, you know, checking you in. They just kind of like guide you over to the machine and like show you how to punch in the numbers.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a really good experience. I'd recommend if you ever wanted to go on like a foursome kind of like thing to the Seaport District.
Yeah.
Definitely go to Putt Shack. I thought that shit was dope.
Putt Shack.
Yeah. Excellent experience.
That reminds me, dude, when Ash and I went to San Francisco last year, we hit a lot of the main tourist hub places. And one of those is the Ghirardelli chocolate, like, plaza.
They do those square, thin chocolates, right?
Yeah. Among among anything else. But, it might have been, like, the original chocolate factory building because it's an old brick building right on the water. But now it's, like, it's kind of where you end up if you're a tourist in San Francisco, no matter which direction you go.
With a Willy Wonka smokestack.
Yeah,
it says Ghirardelli on it, and there's a man pushing a cart.
You can't miss it, for sure.
No one ever comes in.
But
no one ever comes out.
That's just people in San Francisco. That's just kind of what the deal is everywhere.
That movie wasn't creating a character out of that man. That was just the reality of the environment in San Francisco.
But we ended up there, and it's just sort of all filled with, like, there's a brewery in one part of it and a restaurant in another part of it and an actual chocolate store and, you know, any number of other, like, It's like Quincy
candy
Market in
mansion.
Boston, but in a brick building factory complex thing.
Cool.
And
Sweet.
we saw they had mini golf, and Ash was like, "Do you want to do mini golf?" And I was like, and he saw like a bunch of kids going in and out of it, and I was like,
You heard the screaming.
I don't know, but I looked it up on Google Maps sitting there, and it was like great place to drink. And I was like, oh, they have. I bet beer
Check.
would go well with mini golfing. Beer, number one. And then it was like, this is also like a, it's like a walkthrough. Like each hole is an iconic San Francisco landmark.
That's
thing.
cool.
It was really cool.
So it's kind of like an art. It's kind of like an art experience too, like sculptures that you're close to, and
Yeah.
Cool.
Like, so the probably the most famous street in San Francisco is Lombard Street, and it squiggles.
Skateboarders bomb that hill all the time.
Yeah. It's in a
Yeah.
lot of movies, and
Yep.
and you can drive your car down it, but it's one of those things where it's like Abbey Road. It's like there's always a holdup because people are there to take photos and stuff. And we went down on our last trip. It wasn't too bad. People live on that. Like they walk out of their home and it's like the squiggle street.
I would, if I lived on that street, I would set up a tripwire and just catch people. That would drive me crazy.
Well,
dude.
you would be on camera for sure because everyone who drives down this thing is looking all around. But like turning that into a mini golf hole was awesome because
Yeah.
then you watch your ball go down all the squiggles.
That's sweet.
They had the Golden Gate Bridge, of course, and like the baseball stadium and everything.
Did they have Alcatraz?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Chip shot into Alcatraz.
Well, there were a couple holes that it was like you really have to wail on the ball to make this work.
Yeah,
and this
man.
is just like families everywhere, and so it was kind of funny, but yeah, having a beer and going through like and with every hole being like, oh, it's Alcatraz.
Look at that. I could step on it.
I admired the work. They definitely it was it's a mini golf course, so they're not going to make these realistic models that are going to easily break and stuff. But
Yeah.
but some woodworking craftsman did a great job, like practically building all these landmark things into mini golf holes. I was very impressed. But what you're saying about taking that concept and making it like a more thematic and involved experience actually sounds really fun too.
Oh, I mean, I think the way you're describing what's already existing is perfect. Like that's exactly what I had in mind. But I guess bigger and more immersive would be cool. but
Maybe San
expensive.
Francisco's a rare city that has 18 really cool
Yeah.
landmark things.
Yeah.
I don't know if Boston matches up with that.
Well, even harder challenge, Worcester. But
Oh yeah.
there was a Worcester comedian on Kill Tony. Kill Tony's newest thing. One of the guys who went up there was like a Worcester guy he had just gone there for like, I forget.
Really?
Yeah, and he was all right. He did a pretty good job. He kind of flopped when they started to question him and started like roasting him. You could tell he was getting his sea legs. I think he said he'd only been doing comedy for 2 months.
Oh, okay.
But he was pretty good. His opening joke was, as you may see, I look like Sheen from Nickelodeon's Jimmy Neutron. And when you just heard him say that, you just put it together, and it was like, that's a really funny joke. Like, I think when comedians come out first time already self-deprecating themselves, it's like a great platform to start from like a fresh crowd perspective. You should watch it yourself, but I thought it was like a really good, and it was cool to see he was from Worcester.
That is cool.
He said he was a bartender, so he might be a bartender.
It'd be hilarious if bartender around here who looks like Sheen from Jimmy Neutron.
Well, he could work at what's the comedy place in Worcester that we saw, Sam Morril.
That's the thing, is that's not really a thing anymore.
That comedy spot?
I think that's like a defunct comedy club now.
Oh, shit.
I could be totally wrong, but a bunch of those businesses owned by like the Grid right there by the Common have all kind of they've
shit.
either folded or they did a bunch of drastic stuff. They yanked the stage out of the beer garden pavilion thing. It still has a video wall, but it's just an extension of their like seating area now. But that's what you get when, developers and business people are bringing in entertainment for a brand new community of people. But yeah, that comedy club, Woo Ha Ha.
Yep, that's what it was called.
The indoor space was open for, I think, like 3 seconds before COVID happened. And then they had that 1 year of outdoor shows that like Sam Morrill and Mark Norman came through for.
Yeah.
And then I think like the second year of the pandemic, like 2021, I don't think that ever picked back up.
Yeah.
And yeah, that Revolution Pizza place that's been closed forever. And I bet they're gonna try new concepts in there or try to build more apartments in those spaces.
Yeah. Do you think a comedy club would work well on Shrewsbury Street or somewhere like Water Street?
Like you're imagining like flying like the Providence Comedy Connection.
Or even a little smaller, but just like a tight, intimate room in the middle of the action. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think Shrewsbury Street has the draw yet. When that parking garage is finished, I think maybe a lot of more people will start coming down that way.
But I do think Shrewsbury Street benefits from the reputation of like this is a good place to be and it's easy to walk around.
True.
And not every Worcester neighborhood has that.
Yeah, it feels really safe over there for sure.
With a comedy club, I think you definitely need a solid parking situation.
Mm-hmm.
All practical points aside, I think with those types of comedians, the ones that we listen to who are like they live in New York or somewhere else and they come through Worcester, your fans are gonna come from
outside,
not just Worcester, but like suburbs around Worcester, and they're gonna need a place to park because we don't have that kind of infrastructure. Luckily in Worcester, that's still like possible.
Yeah,
but it's hard in any city to keep a comedy club full of people every night.
Yeah,
I think you'd run into more quickly the problem of like when Ash and I went to see Showcase Night at the Village Underground a couple years ago, and we saw Dave Attell and Michelle Wolf and all those people. You're as a twosome, you're kind of in for a $100 night for your like two $20 tickets, and then everyone has a 2-drink minimum. And of course you go beyond that. I remember I think like it comes out to a total of like $100, and I don't know if it would be hard to generate like the kind of consistent following that demands people be in that kind of a space.
I get that.
For that long and spend that much money on like weeknights and stuff too, especially.
So what you're saying is we need to get a casino in downtown Worcester.
Worcester's like the only city in Massachusetts without a big casino now.
Yeah. I wonder if there was one, if the nightlife would kind of start happening again around, or if the casino would try to monopolize all the entertainment in a singular venue. I mean, I just don't know what Worcester would like. What is the general like political, like what are people trying to keep Worcester as? I'm a little confused right now. Like they just put in the ballpark.
Yeah,
that's like a huge family attraction. They just put in all these breweries, so like that's kind of the hipstery vibe draw. Like Worcester is definitely a good place if you're like a fan of breweries.
Craft beer town for sure.
Thank you. That's the way to put it. It's a craft beer town for sure.
Yeah.
I mean the universities. I mean we've been talking about this for years. How there's eight major colleges in Worcester, and
it's like eight serious colleges in or right adjacent to Worcester. Yeah.
And none of their nightlife seems to go out.
And those
in
kids
the city.
only go to Whiskey on Water or they stay in.
Yeah.
Or that Smoke and Joe's place on Park Ave.
Sure. I don't know.
And the Husky Pub. Have you seen the Husky Pub?
I haven't. No. What is that?
It used to be Mahoney's or Maloney's. It's on the corner of May Street and Park Ave. And it's been rebranded to the Husky Pub. Oh, it's right across the street from Worcester Light and Sound. That garage.
Yeah.
The Taco Bell and the fire station are right next door.
Yeah.
Across the street, that corner pub now, it's called the Husky Pub. And we were like, and they got like a husky image on the thing. And then we drove by.
Whose mascot is the husky?
Connecticut? Yukon?
Yeah, but why would that be
right? Well, I didn't know. I don't think it's any of the colleges.
Oh, it's not a college-associated name.
I'm about to tell you that one of the days we drove by, the door was open. There's a fat old husky dog like chilling with his like low back legs like kind of kicked out on the stoop a little bit, and I was like, oh, he's the neighborhood husky.
He's so good.
People on Park Ave better be nice to him.
Oh, they will. They will. I'm sure the owners wouldn't be that open door about it if they weren't very protective of their dog.
Yeah.
Or had confidence the dog could protect itself.
Yeah. Right before the Husky Pub, it had been rebranded to a place called the Pregame, or like the Pregame Spot or something.
Oh,
and I was
okay.
like, oh, that's a heavy-handed attempt to get college kids to come
Yeah.
to your bar.
Yeah.
But
You don't have a dog snarling sound on your board, do
we
you?
said last episode that I should have dog noises on here, so that's strike two, man. I better have them next week.
Rachel had such a good suggestion. She mentioned that I write down in the notebook like sometimes.
Yeah.
And she was like, you should get a
the
scribbling sound.
Dear Slim, I've written, but
Yeah.
you still ain't calling.
That one preferably.
Anyway, I'm sorry, dude. You
No,
were
no,
talking
no.
about like the Worcesterisms and stuff, and like how the connectivity between college kids and going out downtown has always
Yeah.
been a struggle.
And that would stem from talking about where a comedy club would best fit
Yeah.
in downtown Worcester.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and you poignantly asked earlier, like, what are people who are concerned Worcester's not Worcester anymore? Like, what things are they upset about?
And would a casino not fit into their agenda for Worcester? That's like the reason I was going there.
Well, I have a very surface level understanding of development in general, but I know with casinos, there's significant like politics involved, and I think that it's true to a certain degree that the non-Native American reservation casinos that have popped up, like the MGM one in Springfield and Encore in Boston, I think those had to, or Everett, I guess, those had to some degree like be voted on by the community, because casinos, as long as they've existed, have like they're amazing for job creation and as an epicenter for like nightlife and
They facilitate
tourism and
Yeah.
for all the obvious like economic reasons they can be good, but they also generate a lot of waste, and there's a lot of people who have moral ambiguity.
Well, it's
with-
like an addiction thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, right. It's definitely like a place where people who have gambling problems don't want to end up, or else things get bad and lives get ruined. And,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Las Vegas has always been there. So, but there's people in the community.
Atlantic City.
I think the community weighs in a little bit on like, because I think the rule in Massachusetts in general, at least for part of as we've grown up, has been like no casinos unless you guys vote that we should have them.
Yeah.
And I think
It
still
never
that's,
gets voted on,
That's getting
yeah.
chipped away. And I think that's why they're popping up in these places more. So number
Yeah.
one, it would be a challenge to get the community to vote on that going in. Like the ballpark, it riles up the authentic Worcester hipster people to see like that much city money go toward the building of another big commercial thing rather than
Yeah.
like improve quality of life things about the city, like affordable housing and public transportation.
Right.
So that from a PR standpoint, if it was like, I think there would be city involvement in the construction of a casino on any level, and that
Right.
would upset people for sure. But the people who have the most skin in the game tend to win these types of battles. So I'm
Yeah.
sure they'd find a way. But I think because of the complex nature of a casino business, it would be really complicated. It would have to check so many boxes.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that like they made it work in a place like Everett, just a hop and a skip from Boston. Like that's where there's just no space to do anything anymore.
Right.
They built an entire casino and hotel, so they'd probably find a way. But to answer your question, I think the people who are like keep Worcester would be thoroughly displeased
Yeah.
to learn that a casino was, unless it was a casino that was like Vincent's or something like
It was called the Smiley.
very
It was a big
divey.
Smiley
Oh, that would
face
make
theme.
people so angry.
I mean,
The Smiley.
or Smiles or something. Smiles Casino.
Well, the Worcester Historical Museum has kind of branded itself around like they have a bunch of the Harvey Ball stuff from the
Oh,
origin
yeah.
of the smile face, and they have an event every year called the Harvey Ball, and it's like an awards for do-gooders in the city kind of
Yeah.
thing. I don't know too much about it, but they have it at Mechanics, and they always have smile face spotlights all over the room and everything.
Those custom gobos.
Yeah. No, I mean, it would be good and bad, like all the other gentrification that's happening. A mixed bag of like, you know, I mean, the thread I just read through comments on Facebook was Kara actually shared an article showing that Urban Smokestack is gone. That
I don't know what that is.
Urban Smokestack was a great barbecue restaurant on Green Street.
Okay.
It's
BT's just crushed them.
No, I don't think it had to do with barbecue competition. It's just that that's
barbecue gang fight in the street, throwing like ribs at each other.
So it might be hard to picture, but Green Street, we're directly across the street from Birch Tree and the public market, and that big building on the corner by the park there is the Table Talk Pie building.
Yeah,
and that is going through a massive renovation. I think like several developers are like turning that space into the same.
Okay.
I saw Drew actually post something about the type of building that they're using to build the new high-rise loft apartments thing.
Like architecturally.
Yeah, and it's like a piece of shit type of building, like cheaply made and like you know, just a bad design for a building.
Not good for longevity, not good for appearance,
but good for getting yuppies to pay $2,000 for a 1-bedroom apartment.
That's too bad
because they can walk to the market and the ballpark.
I'll have to see it for myself before I make a critical decision on it. But.
Well, you know, Urban Smokestack was a great restaurant. It's sad that they're vacating, and then like you know the restaurant building they had is just going to get flicked off and built up upon.
Kind of like the Cove.
Yeah. That's what they're doing there too. Exactly the same thing. So the big gripe that I see at the surface level on social media and stuff is that the only thing being built new in this city is expensive loft apartments and condos that don't look great. They look bad juxtaposed to the cool kind of Victorian era architecture around Worcester.
Yeah.
And I, you know, I shouldn't talk, I guess. I live in a loft apartment, but it doesn't quite fit the same, like, I don't know. I don't feel like, I live in a school, like a school built in 1894.
It's a sweet apartment. I love your spot.
Thanks, man. We got really, really lucky with it. The fact that it has parking but I also feel like the developers did a solid job turning a cool old building into cool apartments.
Definitely.
They haven't displaced anything. It wasn't being used as it wasn't like they bought the building out from under an active school.
Yeah.
You know, it's just an old building that needs to be used, and it's, you know, housing now, which is cool.
Yeah, by today's terms, that's probably not even in a location where a school would be viable anymore. Like, it doesn't have hardly any parking. It's tiny.
I think our parking lot probably used to be a playground.
Really?
It probably used to be out in the back. Although, you know, I don't even know if old schools had playgrounds.
Well, I'm sure when that place was built, they didn't even have like asphalt down. So it was probably just all grass, and the kids just played in the neighborhood and just kind of on the property. Tough to tell, though.
To your point, to bring an old building up to modern school codes is probably a lot harder than like building livable apartments in it. So point is, that's what people are concerned about with Worcester, is that it is just becoming all of the shitty things that Boston is now, where it's too expensive to live anywhere. If you have a car, forget about it. It eventually will be a place where you could live in one of these downtown centers and walk to you could walk to a grocery store or to a bar, or to a baseball game. I think that's the vision. It's not quite there yet, obviously, and it'll take a while before it is, if it ever even gets there. But I think like the shiny new cheap get everybody in the door as quick as possible construction stuff is what is bumming people out.
Yeah.
And I think the people who talk about the character of Worcester are talking about places like Vincent's and Steel and Wire.
You know, the places that are stuck in 1970, but for a good reason.
Right.
Because they're excellent places.
The Hotel Vernon, and these are all like, you know, Canal District.
Coney Island.
Yeah. As an example. Yep. The stuff
Coney Island hot dogs. Sorry. George's
Coney Island hot dogs. Thank you. Hot dogs are ready.
They sure are. I'd love a hot dog right now. Are they?
That's strike 3 on having the dog noise.
Are they?
I need it.
Are they open past dinner time or lunchtime?
Oh, dude, I've eaten late night Coney Island in our life before. I think Coach Koopman took us to Coney Island after a tennis game once.
Yeah, you're right.
Coney Island is closed on like kind of odd days.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, closes at 8.
All right, I'll remember that for next time.
Open Monday, closed Tuesday, open the rest of the days.
Whoa.
That's what's weird. But I think it's one of those things where, like with Red Rock, I want it on the days that it's closed.
Yeah.
And I think there's some weird psychology to that. Like as soon as you see on paper that a place is closed at an odd time, that's the time that your brain associates with the thing. And then
You should go get it.
and then you're like, next time it's a Tuesday, you're like, hot dogs, why?
Yeah.
Coney Island is closed.
I will say that happens to me with Chick-fil-A all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always have a craving for a chicken sandwich on a Sunday. And if I want to get a chicken sandwich, I always just go to Burger King instead because it's closer. But the chicken, it's that chicken with muscles. But sometimes I'll need that Chick-fil-A sauce and the waffle fries to fulfill that missing piece of me that the chicken sandwich just fills in so well.
So you love the Chick-fil-A, huh?
Well, I'll tell you this much. I think Chick-fil-A is the most consistent. Like every meal I've ever gotten from Chick-fil-A has been identical in a good way. I'd rate their sandwiches on a scale of 1 to 10, with 9 being perfect, 10 exceeding expectations. Probably like a 6.5. Like good, really good. But I'm not like an emotional person with my food per se. So like if I can just kind of get close to the flavor and make the hunger go away, I'm pretty good. So like, yeah, it definitely doesn't need to be a particular recipe for me to feel satisfied. From going to Chick-fil-A a lot in North Carolina when I was going to school, I can tell you that recipe is just always done extremely well, consistently, and I think it's a good portion size. Flavors are good.
Well, I'll tell you what. In Lincoln Plaza, that Chrome Diner building,
Yeah.
that's going to be a Popeyes.
Whoa.
And for more than a few reasons, I think you should take your chicken sandwich business to
Popeyes? I've never been to Popeyes in my entire life.
The only one I feel that I need to say is that I did direct comparisons a few times. I like the Popeyes sandwich a lot better.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What about it? Like the actual chicken or the recipe for the whole sandwich?
Well,
Or-
it's been years since I had Chick-fil-A, and I'll be honest too, I have some bias because it's never settled quite right. Even I love it. I mean, food wise,
Yeah.
I've enjoyed every bite of every Chick-fil-A sandwich I'd ever had, but consistent like tummy aches night of and morning after. That's not, and I've found that's not been consistent with chicken sandwiches in my life.
Oh,
So I don't know what
interesting.
it is about whatever they're doing at CFA, but I yeah. And then of course, there's other socio-political reasons that I don't find Chick-fil-A extremely savory.
Yeah, that checks out.
But that aside, Popeyes, you get does Chick-fil-A do brioche buns? Doesn't matter. My point was
I don't think they do.
I'm having a hard time bringing to my mind what the bun experience is of the Chick-fil-A sandwich. Popeyes has like a beautiful, glistening brioche
Yeah.
bun wrapping that thing up. And to your point, like the Chick-fil-A sandwich, it's the same every time.
Yeah.
It looks the same. It's the same size. Everything about it is so consistent and the same. And with Popeyes, it's, for me anyway, it's been like, it's a little messier, but that's kind of like,
I'm getting personal with myself. Let's get physical. I like that.
let's get physical.
High and tight. You know who you are.
I would really encourage you, man. And then to further that, Popeyes also has like New Orleans sides that you get, and that goes so well with a chicken sandwich.
What do they give you? Shrimp?
They do a little. There might be a shrimp option. I get red beans and rice,
Oh, okay.
which is actually a solid like.
And it's prepped already?
Alternative to
It's not like
cheap,
Wendy's
but
chili.
I've actually never had Wendy's chili.
Oh, you've never
to
had a
make
cup
the
of Wendy's
comparison.
chili?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Very little Wendy's in my life. It's really only ever been like, oh, the bus full of people that we're on this trip needs
Yep.
to stop here, and it's a Wendy's, so
We hit
knock
Wendy's.
yourself out.
We hit Wendy's a few times on one of our EMA tours in college when we were going down to Florida. But the best fast food, or maybe not the best fast food, but the best fast food surprise I ever had was Zaxby's down in, I forget where we were on the trip, but we stopped in I must have been Tennessee or something, but we stopped at a Zaxby's and it was really good. Like I just got a 6-piece chicken tender meal. It was really good. They were like healthy portions. The fries were delicious.
Chicken salads and zappetizers.
They just put a Z in front of everything.
Oh, yeah, this actually looks like the Popeyes chicken sandwich.
Oh, cool. Well, you know who they're going after.
More than the Chick-fil-A one does.
Yeah.
Ooh, excuse me.
Yeah, pretty decent. And I cut you off.
Yeah, that looks good.
I'm sorry.
No.
You were talking about Popeyes giving them their business, the brioche bun.
Oh, yeah, and that went back from. Does this tie into the barbecue conversation we were having? Because I do need to shout out that BT's fried chicken on Park Ave has an even better chicken sandwich, I think,
Oh, well, if you go to
than the Popeyes does.
If
But
you
that should
go
go
to
without saying that a local barbecue joint's going to have a better
Exactly.
chicken sandwich than a
Exactly.
chain. Yeah. But Popeyes being this close to, because that was always the thing. I'd get Popeyes when I'd go visit Ash when she lived off Park Ave, far away from here. But Lincoln that's 5 minutes out. So,
Oh, yeah.
And that's a big enough building that I'm sure they're going to have a pretty solid drive-through situation. So, yeah, I'd recommend you give them a shot next time you're in
yeah,
chick sandwich mode.
in Chicken Land. Yeah, I can do that. I think I might try to do that. Oh, that'd be funny if I got him for next Wednesday, and we
We could.
we had chicken sandwich off.
We're about 2 or 3 years late to the who has the best chicken sandwich wave.
You took the words right out of my mouth, man. I had thought that when we started talking about this, but I didn't say anything. But yeah, we're really late.
Well,
on
we've
this
never
discussion.
gotten to the bottom of it here, and
You're my older
younger.
brother. I love you.
You might younger.
I need another one of that with the edited, just me saying younger.
Well, you can take that stem and then you can chop it in.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the beauty of Ableton.
Yeah. I have. I'm taking Ableton lessons.
Oh, so cool.
Really cool dude we met named Zach, who's in a band called Oracle Blue.
Nice.
They're based in Tennessee. I can't remember if it's Nashville or Knoxville, but we met them in Knoxville, and they're fantastic. And Zach plays trumpet and Ableton push for the band.
That's so cool.
And he tilts the push kind of toward the audience, and he plays it almost hunched over it. And you can see as they play through songs, he's like following these light paths that he's made. It's so cool.
So cool.
YouTube, you can watch people play push on YouTube, and it's like, yeah, sure. But then to see it done live and have it sync up perfectly with what this very choreographed tight band is doing, is very, very cool.
The fact the instrument can be programmed with the audience in mind is such a cool feature of that type of instrument. I'm so happy sampling has become a more mainstream element of live shows.
Yeah.
And even when someone like hits the sample and it's just a loop and it just keeps going, kind of like how you trigger yours at the beginning of ours, that doesn't bother me at all from a performance standpoint, because you know that they're doing that so they can focus on a more, interesting melody instead of having to, split their mind in half, which is some Jacob Collier level shit. But like, that sort of chaos, I think, should stay over there. And this, all I'm trying to say is I love the way that this is being used right now. And yeah. Who knew? I think this is the first time I've seen somebody use Ableton for a podcasting drop station.
Yeah. I did when we first started talking about podcasting like a year or two ago. I bought like a desktop app that was built for drops.
So more of a point and click.
I want to say it was called
drag.
Farrago, and I think I still have it on my older MacBook.
Yeah.
And I popped it open once, and it's from what I recall, it's really not too different than what I see when I plug this in and assign samples to the different triggers.
Right.
What I do want to do is I think I want to make just something that lives on the desktop here that's like just a grid that I've photoshopped icons into all the different drop positions so that I don't have to do like a, you know, because when you start talking and I start thinking about bringing in something, I'm still at the point where I have to remind myself where it's located. But if I've got that here with like, just like a bumblebee on the bee noise, like I know it's right there and I could just smash it.
Definitely.
And that will be a funny looking thing to have. And if it's in Photoshop, I can just move stuff around as I go. So I'm thinking of doing something like that just for fun.
I mean, you like we were talking about earlier, you might be able to find a way to custom color each of the buttons to be like relevant to whatever that is. So you know, you could make the bumblebee one like yellow or something for visual, at least on the pad. But
since the green quadrant up here is my growing Isaac drops, I'm thinking of just having your face like in the like transparent in the background of that on this image that I'm gonna do, so that I just know that those are all you.
Yep. And then super analog version of this, you could just stretch a piece of saran wrap over that and just Sharpie on the names.
That's where the idea started.
Oh, nice.
And then I was like, I don't think I have to like construct or add to this. I just need something over here. Because plus it's also, I don't like when you're talking and then I need to check my notes to queue up what I'm doing. It's great if I could just have it all right here. Anyway,
that's all right. I never feel like you're not like focusing on our conversation when you do that. Like I get that we're both running half the production here, so it doesn't bother me at all, brother.
Thanks, brother.
Hey, brother.
Dude, I'm sorry. In my head, one of the drops from, or one of the bits from the Buster compilation is little kids acting as little kid Michael and Buster Bluth.
Oh my God.
And little kid Michael is rubbing Buster's back and he just goes, "Thanks, brother." And he's like crying. I should get that one. It's not Tony Hale's voice, but it's good. I think I have I have an open 4th Buster Bluth button, so I should add something there.
While I was thinking of other drops, the word, maybe I'm making up a false memory, but I remember there being a movie where someone walks into a room and goes, "Brothers, brothers, brothers."
I'm sure that's a thing.
But I can't remember. To me, it feels like it's a Bernie Mac movie.
Is that the pimp scene in Black Dynamite?
It could be.
There's got to be the word brother thrown around a bunch in that scene.
Yeah. We should go through. We should just watch Black Dynamite again and just write down timestamps.
Cancel plans.
Yeah,
let's just watch Black Dynamite again.
You know, end this. No, that's a great movie.
Yeah, that'd be a good one to check. If it's Bernie Mac, I feel like it could also be Head of State.
Yeah.
Bernie Mac makes a bunch of entrances in that movie that it could have been.
I think Key and Peele also have a couple of sketches where they say brothers in a really good, like, clean audio clip. Oh man, there's so many. We're gonna end up having a hard drive full of these.
Yeah.
Which that'd be hilarious because we could release it. People could download your own brother drops. And the loop. You still have to send me a pre-recorded intro, by the way.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Do you want it with samples in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the other thing that I kind of want to use this for is there's like a trailer for your YouTube channel. That's kind of like the intro.
Oh, yeah.
And I was going to do like a little walk around of our studio and just have it come up and just kind of be an animated banner.
Yeah.
But I wanted to play the theme song in the back.
Nice. That sounds great, man.
Yeah.
You were telling me earlier you wanted to talk about camera lenses?
Oh, yeah. My last Black Friday came in today. This is from Prism FX. This is called, what is this one called? I think it's called Vintage Glow. So I use a Canon 80D to film, as you know. Yeah, what is the name of this one? Oh, this is called Nostalgia. That's the name of this lens. So I use a Canon 80D with a 77 millimeter lens, or the diameter of the lens is 77 mil. So this is specifically designed to essentially add like that haze from 70s and 80s album artwork kind of around you without needing any fog or any like atmospheric effects.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious, like if I hold this up to the camera, if it'll make a difference. From what I saw before, it really doesn't, because you have to kind of have a hard light source. So like if you stood up right behind this light and I took a photo, it would look perfect. But on just like a generally well-lit environment, you don't really notice a big difference. If anything, it might look like a smudged lens, like just kind of hazy.
Smudge on the
A
lens.
smudge on the lens? No, that's what this does.
Cool.
So it just kind of adds this like retro glow to stuff.
You
But,
feeling good about that for just photos, or has this got video potential too?
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, the beauty of these is that it's kind of nice to have. So I watched this video talking about how the newest Batman movie with
The Batman.
The Batman. The director is notorious for doing this thing where he dirties up the lens. So like most of the image you're looking through is kind of like you're looking through a really like dirty window. And if you're like really paying attention to the edges of the frames, you can tell there's like a lot of visual distortion. There's like warping, color aberration, I think is what it's called, when the colors kind of get split in weird ways. But yeah, or dirtying up the frame, I think is what they referred to it as.
Okay.
And when you have a perfectly clear image, that looks good, but it's almost kind of like scientific. Like it's like too clean. And when you get that natural like distortion to the frame, it just kind of adds a little character. And so something subtle like this would definitely help, especially if we were shooting like an 80s kind of themed video. I'm trying to think. I got another lens that adds that like sparkle to everything where there's a hard light. That would also, you could probably stack both of these up and have a really cool effect from that. But yeah, these little subtle just adjustments to how the light behaves with the subject is just kind of nice to have for photo and video.
Yeah.
The kaleidoscope one I got, that thing's, I don't even know where I'm going to be using that yet, but mostly for photos, I think. You can rotate the kaleidoscope independently, but since it doesn't have any like gear system to like put on a consistent turning pattern, I think it would be hard to use for video.
Yeah.
But you could still do it. It'd be cool. I really want to shoot another BLB music video up in Maine with the kaleidoscope lens and do a bunch of like up close stuff in the plants and like get all the greenery and do a lot of cool sweeping stuff and Simon in Simon's Cove, like I'm seeing that in kind of a new way as an environment to shoot you guys in. Maybe even for more of a, or maybe not for like a dedicated video, but like I bet we could use clips of you guys up there for a bigger video, kind of like on Patience. You know how there was like you guys were in the basement and then you were also in that big venue room, kind of as two different scenes that were stitched together.
Yeah.
You could use the main backdrop as like a scene to be stitched together with other footage. So I think that could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Nostalgia by Prism Lens Effects. I just get bombarded with Instagram ads for these guys. Probably because I purchased them already, so it's like, buy more, please.
Yeah.
But these were a great Black Friday deal. I think these were like 50 or 45% off. So
Nice.
yeah. And I imagine these aren't crazy expensive to make. Like, I don't think anybody would notice the difference between a bad one of these lenses and a good one. So I'm sure their threshold for quality is pretty big. So they could probably pump these out pretty affordably. And I think at the end of the sale, each one ended up being like $65 or $70 when they were normally like, I think the most expensive one I got was the Kaleidoscope, which was normally, don't take this as gospel, but I feel like it was normally $120 or something like that. So it felt like a really good deal. But yeah, looking forward to using this on a project soon.
That's cool, man. Your photography arsenal is pretty formidable.
Thanks, man. I certainly love it. I'd actually love to get a new camera body. Get the upgraded version of the camera I'm using right now and get the 90D.
Ooh.
More megapixels. It's got a 4K sensor. It's still a crop sensor size, so all of my lenses would still work with it, which is great. 4K video. 4K 60 video, I think. You can do 4K 60. And it can do 1080p at 240 frames per second slow-mo, which is like GoPro. I think that's 10 times slow or 12 times. I can't remember, but yeah, it's a significant slow-mo upgrade for that camera, which we wouldn't use all the time, obviously, but it's just cool to have. Yeah. And then the 80D would kind of go into my backup, or we could use it as another shot over here. Yeah. I was also thinking we might want to get maybe if I do ever do that, get this camera set up at your apartment so we can do the podcast over there when I have to move out.
Yeah.
Because the lava lamp room would be such a cool room to do the podcast in. Yeah. You just move the light, move the camera, move the mics. I think it'd be fine.
Our table situation would need to be figured out, but I'm sure we can get there.
And I don't think we even need the screen necessarily, as long as we could do the little picture-in-picture pop-up.
Yeah.
I think we'd be fine.
Dude, speaking of smudging the lens, did you hear the Rick and Morty news?
Yeah, they let him go.
No more Justin Roiland at all.
Yeah,
but Rick and Morty will continue.
That's right.
The season that just ended was 5, right? Or was it 6?
I think it was 6.
Okay.
But a part of me feels like it was 7. But I think
I don't think it was 7.
I think what I'm thinking of is all of the things that were like Rick and Morty will return in season 7. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's I think the number why it's sticking in my head.
Yeah. So they're gonna Harmon's gonna keep chugging along with it, but they're recasting the voices of Rick and Morty.
I mean, they might kill off Morty. Oh wait, no, he's both of them. He's like half the fucking show.
Yeah.
Damn, that's gonna be wild.
Yeah.
They must know something that they haven't told the public yet. Because I'm surprised they made that decision without a verdict being decided in court.
Yeah.
But also, maybe Comedy Central or Adult Swim are just taking a very hard stance on this and just kind of doing a no-nonsense approach, which is, I think, good.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting if Justin Roiland is found innocent, though. Could he sue them? I mean, morally, the court of public opinion will probably never let him recover from this. But could he legally sue if he was found innocent?
That really all depends on the nature of the contract he had with them.
Exactly.
I guess.
Yeah.
But he, has an interesting case if details come out and he's absolved of what these accusations are.
Yeah.
Because then his firing would have been predicated on a lie. But, they got to keep the show moving, and he's caught up in this thing.
Yeah.
And
from what I read, the sources are very credible that this is a very bad situation. I there's nothing about this that seems false to me.
Yeah. The other aspect I heard was this all stems from allegations that were made in 2020.
Yeah, these have been ongoing, right?
And so this has been happening and no action's been taken, and Rick and Morty's continued to come out, and now he's been arrested as part of these proceedings. So it seems like things aren't going in his favor necessarily.
Yeah, definitely not.
But beyond that, I know very, very little. This feels kind of like taking Steve Carell out of The Office and trying to keep it going.
You think they should just let it die with dignity?
Well,
or die with no dignity?
Well, am I right in I've never done my actual homework on this, but am I right in assuming that the vast majority of Rick and Morty voice acting it's semi-scripted? It's like it's largely improv. The actual
I hope that's not for us.
the actual I know they write episodes that have storylines and stuff, but like Rick and Morty's dialogue, which has always just been the one dude.
Yeah. That's
all kind of a lot of it is improv, and they keep in a lot of silly stuff that typically would have been deleted from a session, but that was my foot.
Oh, thank God.
Sorry.
I thought someone was trying to knock our door down.
Maybe it could be Dan locked out.
Oh, that's true. Jay's here though. He can let him in.
Yeah, that's true. But it seems like I feel like Roiland's. He created the characters. He's inside of them. It's worked so well this entire time, and his voice is sort of unmistakable. I'm sure there are unbelievable impressionists out there that will do a fine job, but you're kind of completely reformulizing what the show is and what the core of every episode is.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to see it going well, but it's just as much Dan Harmon's show as Justin's, at least as far as I observe it to be. And I don't think that level of depth and artistry is going to go away because of this particular change. But the effect of the show, it's a cartoon, but I feel like it's going to be one of those uncanny valley things of like the new Star Wars movies with the CGI people, where it's like, that's amazing, but it's taken away from my experience because it's not what I came here for originally.
The uncanny valley was the perfect way to describe that. It's so close that it's impressive, but it's just not quite there that it's distracting.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sure his improv has a lot to do with the storytelling of that show too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if it were me, I probably would stop making the show. Just call it off, and just say that's where we left it. Like,
Dan Harmon's been through this kind of before with Community, with like major personnel changes happening with the casting at several segments throughout the show. Very different, obviously, on every level. But I was definitely victim of, like, Chevy Chase leaving was like, I missed that.
Yeah.
And then Donald Glover leaving was sort of my final straw. Like, there's not enough in this show anymore.
Well, it turned into Abed's show.
Yeah.
He was hilarious.
I love all of those main characters. I love all of them.
Oh, yeah.
But
me too.
But I think Chevy Chase and Donald Glover were always the most consistently hilarious in that show.
It was rare they said something that wasn't like a laugh out loud level of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, the chemistry of all of those cast members together was definitely the magic to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one of those shows. They just got the formula right.
Yeah. So I don't know, but he did his best, and there are people who I think actually like Jay was telling me recently that the last 2 seasons of Community actually have some good stuff
interesting
in them, and I didn't give it. I stopped after the G.I. Joe episode because I was like, not only is the show fading on me, but I have no G.I. Joe experience in my life.
I have no familiarity with G.I. Joe either.
Yeah. So that was, I think I didn't finish that episode, and I walked away from the whole show at that point.
You're just like, well, that was nice. I'm going to put this down right here.
They keep, Community, right where I left you.
Ah, yes. A nice layer of dust.
They keep teasing a movie too. Apparently that's possible.
That could work.
But yeah, I would want Donald Glover to come back really bad.
Yeah.
And he's achieved he's transcended to the next level of celebrity and influencer in the world.
He entered that show off of 30 Rock, right?
Yeah, I think he was writing for 30 Rock, and maybe he had some on-camera stuff, but yeah, he was still super new to everything.
Solo comedy, solo songwriting, being a main character in a sitcom. Sitcom? No. What would you call Community?
I mean, I think if you define situational comedy broadly, it is
okay.
But yeah, I know when I hear sitcom, I think multi-camera,
laugh track,
Seinfeld and Friends, like
yeah,
or live audience in Seinfeld's case.
I do have to admit, the way they stitch those episodes together from different takes, like Friends and Seinfeld, based a studio audience, that's fascinating to me. Like that's just really impressive production. Because you'd think that was like it is scripted, but you'd think that was all like one take for each scene.
Yeah.
When they have to do those over and over again.
I get creeped out thinking about Friends not having a studio audience, just making you think that there is one. Did you not know this? Are you learning this right now?
Today
you learned.
I was today years old when I learned.
I want to. This goes back to my college roommate who was like a major nerd on TV stuff.
Just an empty set.
Popped my cherry on knowing that Friends. I think Friends might have been one of the first TV shows with this as the technique, that it was always a fake laugh track.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, was it like somebody queuing up and playing back laugh tracks, or was it a edited episode being showed to a studio audience after the fact, and they were laughing over like a pre-recorded thing and being told when to laugh?
Dude, I feel like I'm making a majorly false accusation.
Is there like some article that's like, why Friends studio audience was the best studio audience ever?
I just Googled Friends laugh track.
It's okay. I made the Larry David mistake in the beginning. You can make the friends mistake at the end. Neither of us have any stake in the friends world.
All right, well, this one top Google reference source says most of the laughter you hear on the Friends show is actually real. One of the reasons it was filmed in front of a live audience was to help get real reactions from real people. A larger percentage of the show had laughter from real people and not recorded laughter.
I mean,
you know what? I guess we'll get back to this. I'd like to have the correct information here.
I mean, maybe Jeff was
Jeff. Jeff. Maybe your friend Jeff.
Maybe he just got duped and he was feeding you some BS.
Well, I mean, some of the Seinfeld episodes take place like outside, so obviously there wasn't like an audience in the outside scenes, but like they do that thing I think in the last episode where they like turn the and it's like
it looks like an SNL backdop.
Yeah.
or not a studio audience.
Yeah, it's NBC. I guess it wasn't the same as the studio in New York, but I'm questioning myself because some of the scenes in Friends are classic because the laughter's happening and the actors are like they're milking it.
Yeah.
So I do have to imagine like to some degree there must have been some laugh reference. I'm probably wrong on this. I'll research that more thoroughly.
That's okay. We're well past our time, so I think we're good to call it. But before we hit it, it was Community that stemmed that.
Yeah, we did that for many years.
That's just funny, man. All right. Well, happy Wednesday, man.
Happy Wednesday, dude, and another successful episode.
Amen to that, brother.
We will talk next week and talk about Blue Light Bandits in New York City.
Yep, that's right.
Which will have happened by then.
Mercury Lounge,
the Mercury
boy.
Lounge, the world famous Mercury Lounge.
Yay!
And it's gonna be a good week. It's gonna be February.
Yes,
when
it
we
is.
check back in.
Getting closer to the warmth.
Yeah, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week and weekend, dude.
Likewise, man.
Hey, brother. Whatever happened to Am I My Brother's Keeper, huh?
Look at your smile, brother. Name me, brother.
I named me brother.
Look at your smile, brother.
All right, time to figure out who was making all that racket outside.